What's up, everybody? It's John Z with Tales from the Flipside. We are on episode 284, and as I said in the title, the CEO is away traveling. So we're going to hold down the fort and see what kind of trouble we can get into, and let's kick this thing off. What's up, gentlemen?
Living a dream.
Yeah. Hanging in there.
Recovering from the holiday week and trying to get back in the swing, huh?
Very much so.
There was a holiday weekend?
Last week. Last week.
I ended up working like all weekend anyway, so.
That sucks.
Yeah.
It always just is harder when you come back to it, man. Of course, I'm walking into a 2-day week, so that's okay. I got vacation after Wednesday, so that'll be nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so all kinds of randomness this week. It's not a big news week, just lots of little tidbits and things. And one of them came out right before we went live, which I thought was it was an interesting choice for CBCS. So let me. CBCS is grading role-playing games and related items, or books and packaging and everything. Seems difficult, I guess, is where I'm at.
I mean, yeah, unless it's like those original joints that.
Well, I think that's what they're focusing on. But like, you got to be like, it looked to me like they were going to do sealed stuff as well as the books and the,
Well, it's gained a lot of interest since, like, I would say, like, probably since Stranger Things. Like, I think we saw a big jump of people playing D&D, like, where it's become like part of the, it's no longer someone in their basement playing. It's now mainstream, right?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it has hit some more, I guess, mainstream topics than before. It just struck me as an interesting, where CGC has been going video games and kind of the more hype stuff. They went for, I guess, a little more off the beaten path method,
Well, it's probably one of those things where it's like, what's something they haven't started grading or whatever, and then it led to that, right?
Yeah. Like I said, all right. So reading it, it's fits in a magazine holder, submitted as a magazine, includes modules, supplements, and magazines. So maybe not boxes, I guess. I misread that, but still, man, I guess, condition on those things, though, ought to be beat because they just used them, right? People didn't, you didn't collect those.
I mean, there are people who, at that point when Dungeons & Dragons rolled out, like 76. Yeah, so 76, like we were coming off of, or we're at the beginning of that real collector market in the comic book game and geekdom. I feel like that's about the point where that pivot started to really happen, and people were like, "Oh, you can make money off this shit." So
I don't know if this did though. Like, this is a game.
I mean, people held on to everything. I mean, I'm looking at a first edition or a first printing of Dungeons and Dragons, Swords and Spells. Person is asking $1,300 for it, and it looks minty.
Whoa.
Like this thing looks clean for what it is.
Well, maybe that's the thing to buy at this point then.
So I mean, it's the same difference of like people read them and used them, but it's the same thing with first print books. Like somebody held on to them and stuck them in a library. That's the reason why you have these pristine copies of Dickens and, Mary Shelley and things like that.
I guess I felt like these would be things that you're flipping through all the time, right? They're like a reference material. It's like a...
because it's a guidebook or whatever. And then like, if you're
not
playing the game, like it's heavily used versus like...
Yeah, you're not just reading it once, like to read through it. It's a tool.
Yeah, well,
kind of like the early comics, I guess.
I mean, this one I'm looking at looks like it's like, I mean, with the texture of it, it looks like it actually might be leather bound. or something like it on one of these guys. So again, I'm not a hardcore D&D person. I know basic history of the medium. Yeah, so I mean, there really could be people out there who kept these. I mean, in the same way that like comic book collectors did. Like there was until people decided to change that, there was no reason to hold on to comic books.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think, and there's a cross section of the same community here. So I feel like the same folks who were like, I'm gonna keep one to read and one to hold on to are the same people who would have done this with these guys.
It seems a lot more expensive to buy like a D&D guide like back then,
$5.
and then was it $5?
I'm looking at one right now. Price is stamped on the front cover is $5. So I mean, yeah, it was more. More expensive than a comic book. Don't get me wrong. Like $5 in '76. I mean, let's do that conversion real fast. 1976, $5.
Maybe like
$20 or something like that now.
Well, I mean, comics were what?
A quarter.
At that point, they
25
were
cents.
I didn't know we were still in the. Were we in the 25-cent market at that point? Yeah, because we were right about to have to switch over to the the 35-cent, 30-cent comics. So yeah, $5 in that time period would be $26 and some change today.
So yeah, 25 comics. So I don't know.
So yeah, I wonder if someone would actually spend that much money to buy an extra one just to like, oh, I'm going to save this one.
I'm sure somebody did.
Yeah. Or do you know what it is? It could be like we're a group of friends or whatever, like, oh, hey, I bought this new thing, and then someone else bought it as well, and then it was like kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'll just save mine.
I wonder what other ones would be interesting to grade, though, because there's other games that aren't D&D.
Probably like Warhammer, 40K, stuff like that. I would assume those original guides.
The ones with the super hard followings,
yeah.
Well, there's also like, I remember when I was a kid, there was a Marvel role-playing game. That could be an interesting play. Robotech's out there. Yeah. I mean, could be some ones that are maybe a little more undervalued than, like, because to me, like, Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons feel like the big boys. Like, they are the ones with some huge followings. I'm sure there's others. But just, I bet there's some interesting ones kind of, as people, when we saw with video game grading and VHS, there's the top 3 or 4 things that go, and then everybody starts going, well, what about this? That's cool. So might be a little bit of a window to figure out what those might be.
But it's also got to fit in those parameters of the magazine holders too, right?
Yeah. I mean, unless it's something really thick, I can't imagine it being too much bigger than a magazine, right?
Probably not. Like, I mean, but also, I guess, like, it also depends on how thick it is too.
Yeah. Yes. Well, unless it, I mean, maybe it, well, I don't think CBCS has like the thicker ones.
Yeah, like grading like for pulps or anything like that,
or trade paperbacks.
So, I can't wait to grade my omnibus.
Yeah, exactly. So other news. I know people are going to be tired of beating this to a dead horse, but I did see Blue Beetle hit 100 million at the box office finally, 4 weeks in, so it's trudged through. The article I was reading compared it to the Haunted Mansion that finally also hit it, but Haunted Mansion took longer and just, I think had more expectations.
Yeah,
I mean, not that it probably was going to be great, but they were building off this ride that has a built-in Disney fan base. That should be good versus a unknown commodity of a 3rd or 4th tier DC hero.
Well, I mean, it's the second of those movies that is ultimately not playing off of the first. I mean, I don't even know if the first was a successful film. Because the first one was what, Eddie Murphy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they were playing off. Well, we made a ride with pirates, and then we did it again with the river. What's it called? The river cruise. River. Damn it! Whatever the Dwayne Johnson was. The river.
Jumanji?
No, it was the one that he did right before Shazam. It was the river.
Jungle Cruise.
Jungle Cruise. Thank you.
Mm.
Jungle Cruise. Having a rough day on this one. And that one didn't do great, but that was kind of stuck right in the COVID rush, wasn't it? It was right before or right during, because I remember that kind of hitting Disney Plus either as one of the first kind of movies that they released directly to, or maybe they released it early right after. I think it was a COVID movie, though.
Yes, it was, I believe, because I definitely remember I saw it on a plane, like once we could fly again.
So, I mean, Blue Beetle hitting 100 million. I think it's at 104 internationally, and they said the production cost was right around 100 million. I know there's advertising in there, but to me, at that point, you factor that in plus the streaming and whatever else happens, and you get some toy sales. That isn't terrible for a movie that they had low expectations for, you know?
Or that was supposed to be streaming only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was, supposed to go straight to Max, and they pulled it out. They're like, oh, this has a little bit of promise to it.
Yeah, I mean, people want to compare this to like Shazam or Black Adam. Like those movies had expectations. One's a sequel. One is The Rock. This is literally like everybody's like, wow, this one movie did terrible. I'm like, dude, this is like the original Guardians of the Galaxy just taking a fucking twirl at something different.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I keep getting reminded of how much marketing, because I just wasn't like in the spaces where a lot of that Black Adam marketing was going. I still saw quite a bit of it, but I didn't even realize, I wasn't playing Fortnite back then, that there was a Fortnite tie-in to Black Adam. And like, yeah, that Black Adam was everywhere. Like they put money into putting that character everywhere for them to bomb as much as they did. So, I mean, normally the rule is double the reported budget, and that's what it costs across the board. I honestly think in the Black Adam scenario, you probably got to triple that realistically, because I think if you double the production budget, that may be total what they spent on marketing.
Yeah. Well, that one was, they pushed everywhere. And Shazam was kind of, This one to me, Blue Beetle had average marketing. I think Haunted Mansion had average marketing at best. I also don't know if these places know how to market anymore.
Oh, with the new market that it kind of has to appeal to now?
Well, I'll just like, where are they targeting and how? Like, you can have YouTube, trailers and, short ads before, but like, people aren't watching TV and commercials, and it just, I don't know if they figured out how to market the way they used to.
You got to put in magazines nowadays.
You what?
You got to put in magazines nowadays.
Nobody reads those either. It just I don't know if they figured out where to put all this marketing budget yet.
Honestly, I think, going back and seeing where like Marvel is putting the work in, because again, they try to make their stuff family friendly and digestible for the younger kids, and it's not being like, don't get me wrong, there is the YouTube marketing, because that's pretty much how most kids are consuming television nowadays, but realistically the toy and food tie-ins, like, and when I say food tie-ins, I mean not only just like your classic McDonald's that we grew up with, but also it being on like a cereal box and being on, for Christ's sakes, I remember when Star Wars was the last real big like blitzkrieg push I remember seeing, and there was Star Wars tie-in marketing on oranges. It was like BB-8 on an orange, like on a bag of oranges from one of the notable.
Are you telling me holding that bag of oranges is not a good collectible?
But seriously though, like that's the type of stuff we grew up with. I'm 37, about to be 38 at the end of this year. Like I grew up in the era of like the blitzkrieg marketing campaigns of like, you can't go into the grocery store and like not see Iron Man or Batman. If they've got a movie coming out in the next like 2 to 3 months, they were going to be on your cornflakes. They were going to be on like some like snack pack thing that you were going to your lunchbox. They were going to be on juices. Yep, Captain Marvel sticker on banana. Like, yeah, it legitimately.
We shouldn't joke. Paul probably has those oranges somewhere.
But yeah, like, that's
I would believe it if it was Star Trek.
Well, the classic OG one is like Ecto Cooler. They had a freaking high C flavor.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was
They
long
launched
running
that back
for years.
again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like those days are. I mean, and that marketing used to be so important, and that's the reason why okay, it was a big part of the reason why Tim Burton didn't come back to do the third Batman movie, is because the second movie pissed off the parents when it came to the McDonald's tie-in, because they're like, this is not a kids friendly film, and we're sitting here like, our kids are wanting to go see it based off of eating Happy Meals and having the toy tie-ins and the cups and stuff. And so yeah, big McDonald was like, no, this needs to stay kid friendly, and so we need to go back to that. We need to go with something that pushes action figures and sells Happy Meals for the third film. And that's why that is what it became, up until they just said, screw it, we're going to reboot years later with Nolan. But like, yes, I mean, I don't know what's changed, because that's still proven to work. Like, you can say what you will about like ads on television, but children walking through a grocery store will see a bag of something or a food tie-in and be like, I want to go see that movie and I want to eat that thing because it has a superhero on it.
Okay, but still fighting the same fight. What percentage of grocery store traffic is shrunk with, people just ordering Amazon and ordering, pick up at, the door.
Delivered to my house. Or
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's gone, but I mean, it's definitely cut that market down.
Well, true. I mean, it is also, part of it is like just the passive promotion of, you walk through the aisles and you see it and it causes you to think about that character and that movie. But I mean, also too, like if you've got kids and you're still feeding them sugary cereals and things like that, then that stuff's making it into your home that way. Like, it still is making it into your home, unless you're feeding your kids like, whole grain, generics.
But if, let's say, your kids are Captain Crunch kids or whatever the hell they are, if you're ordering online, you're just ordering the same thing you always order. You're not perusing for Captain Crunch with Captain Marvel berries or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, that's the thing, though. In most of those situations, they're not changing the actual content of the box for the most part anymore. It is truly just that character is on the outside of the box being like, go see Iron Man next. Like, I mean, legitimately, the Iron Man one just comes back to mind constantly. It's like, the Frosted Flakes didn't change. Iron Man's ass was just on the outside of the box.
You know what? You're right. You haven't been baffled by a child until you have multiple children fighting over the back of the cereal box to read it, when they don't read anything else the rest of the fucking day.
Yeah. So I mean, again, you have kids. I'm just speaking of being a true late 80s, 90s kid who grew up in the heart of that targeted marketing ad campaigns. And yeah, like the cereal didn't need to change. I remember, again, you bring it like, I remember wanting to get the box of, what was it? It was the Cocoa Crisp, it was one of the ones that was, it was Cookie Crisp. Cookie Crisp had a marketing campaign that tied in with the Spider-Man, the series that was on Fox. And they actually had toys in the box. So, and then shit, dude, the lightsaber spoons, they've been using those things. I swear to God, they have the original stockpile that they just keep slipping in the box. I mean,
a couple freighters from China still sitting around.
Dude, dead ass serious, because I was like, wait a minute, that looks like the same exact red, green, and blue that was in the boxes when the original
trilogy got remastered or whatever.
Yeah, when they did the special edition, they did those, and then they did them for when they brought out the prequel trilogy, and then they did it again for.
Since we're around the same age, do you remember the cereal? Do you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cereal where you got a bowl? Okay, so did you eat that as a kid?
No, my mom was not. She still was buying cereals that we all were eating, and I was like, you get Captain Crunch, you get you get some Cheerios and maybe some Captain Crunch.
Okay, so my brother and I we got that as a kid or whatever, and then it was like a cookie cereal. Dude, that cereal wasn't cereal. That was just straight up cookies.
I don't know. I remember the Mr. T cereal and all that good stuff. Batman cereal. I remember when it just took over a brand.
Yes.
So, speaking of marketing, I saw another article about Aquaman, who's God knows if it's going to get released. They could push it again. It's a mess, but a lot of the rumors are they are not putting any marketing budget or minimal marketing budget towards this thing at this point.
Is Amber Heard still in it?
Yes, apparently.
I don't think they can CGI her out, and it probably would cost too much. So I think between James Gunn and like this whole thing maybe coming back, maybe not. This poor movie is a fucking a mess. It's
I mean,
an
it truly
orphan.
does not matter. It does not matter at all for the greater DC universe. This does not matter at all. I mean, anybody who's paying attention knows that he's going to be Lobo in this new rendition of the DC universe. So he could care less. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he's probably getting back in residuals. I'm pretty sure he's probably an executive producer. So this movie being successful ultimately is going to put more money in his pocket. But I think that maybe to a certain degree, Momoa's like, whatever. I got a job. I got a job waiting on me, regardless of how this movie does.
I just don't understand though. Like, okay, just because the universe is dead, do we not want to see this movie? You know what I mean?
It just doesn't matter. I mean, like, and I think this goes into the.
Doesn't. I mean, I understand that, but do any of them matter? You know, we close out different things in it.
Well, and the point. Go ahead. Sorry.
Is this supposed to be the last of this DC?
Yes.
But okay, so it's like the conclusion. So it's the conclusion of it all.
But I don't think it like actually meant to be.
Yeah, no, it's not an intended conclusion. That's the issue.
But so, I mean, why are we so obsessed with this? I mean, DC has never had a good combined universe. Like, we should just treat it as a standalone movie.
But that's just not what it is. Like, so you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Like, it is what it is, and you can't undo it. And also the fact that, like, I mean, again, this is what happens also to a certain degree when you have a creative type with their clear defined vision running the show now. It's like, those aren't my toys. Like, it's just, I mean, it's the same thing that happened in comic books. I mean, I was watching something earlier today that brought up a very great example of the power that Claremont had over the X-Men. Is that because in the same way that in modern day you had what's his face when he rebooted, you know, what was happening in the X-Men and did House of Powers. Yeah, with House of Powers, it was like when you give a creative type also that level of control over what's happening across multiple books that aren't his book. You are now creating a scenario where a creative is going to do what a creative is going to do. And a creative type is going to be like, well, I've got a vision and that don't fit in my vision. And I also am now the boss too. This thing could be successful, but like also that movie was 100% made on the old regime's dollar. So you can pretty much just like, you get all of the benefit and none of the blame on the success.
Yeah, I know. It just is interesting. I'm like that. Again, I think Amber Heard has done more damage than not, and then it's just been so long waiting for this goddamn thing.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
if it would have came out 2 years ago, well, not 2 years. I don't know. It just got the timing shit show.
Wait, so who did it worse, Amber Heard or Ezra Miller?
I think she's more disliked.
Nah, I think she's more disliked, but I think he did worse shit.
He did worse shit, but I think she's more well known almost. People are like, "Who's Ezra Miller?"
I don't necessarily think that people are like holding Amber Heard's action against the greater Aquaman movie, because at the end of the day, she is supporting cast.
No, I know. I just think she got so much more publicity because of Johnny Depp than Ezra. Like, I think if I asked my wife who's Ezra Miller, she'd go, "I don't know."
Would you say
she watched the movie?
Shit the bed? No, I'm
just saying. You know what I mean? Nope. His name is not like a household name,
right?
No, true. And I mean,
we weren't stuck watching a trial about it again with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and I mean, they also did do a very solid job of trying to, you know, take him out of the public eye to shift that narrative. They were like, we're going to go and hide you so that, you know, I mean, he did no promotion for the film whatsoever. So they're like, we're going to just tuck you away.
Yeah, and most of the promotion was based on Keaton. Like, he didn't do it, but like all the promos were Keaton.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, I really do think that like you have a greater, I mean, we have, with this stuff, we have now settled into this IP canonized worlds and things like that. So if it did connect to a greater universe and it doesn't anymore, that does affect the general, like the normies are like, nah, why should I care? Like this doesn't matter going forward. They're not going to waste the marketing dollars because again, it doesn't matter going forward. It only matters in the context of this one film. Okay. And if you already deem it to be a lost cause, then why piss any more money away at a lost cause?
Well, speaking of lost causes, we got news that the Crow movie in development / waiting to film got sold to Lionsgate for.
I thought it was done. I thought the film was completed.
So did I, but now I read it again and I'm less sure of that. Because they said it's on pause because of the writer's strike, actor's strike.
Yeah.
I thought it was done.
Yeah, because
maybe it's still in. Maybe it's still in the edit and fix phase.
Okay, let me see, because I could have swore, like I saw like something talking about FK Twig's involvement and
yeah. But I guess I'm confused because like they say it's not going to be released for another year and a half. Like, why would they be waiting on the writer's strike if it's done?
Oh, because you can't even. Well, the writer's strike would prevent you from even being able to do any corrections,
editing,
reshoots.
Yes.
So yeah, so you wouldn't be able to do any reshoots because you couldn't record new. Well, shit. Forget the writer's strike. We're in actor strike now, so they just can't do shit. Period.
So it's shot. Primary shooting's done. They just maybe have some rework.
So I thought wasn't the people that do all the special effects too? Aren't they on strike as well?
Oh, I don't know.
Just nobody is allowed to do anything at this point. Like,
yeah.
Well, and this is what's confusing though. But like they're buying it, but maybe are they requesting tweaks or changes? I don't know. I was confused.
Well, maybe they're holding off because it probably is done. They just can't promote the thing, so they can't put it out until somebody.
If you can't promote it, you don't want to promote it.
Yeah, no, you don't put a movie out if you can't send, especially people who, generally speaking, are liked. Like nobody's got any issues with FKA Twigs and Bill Skarsgård. So yeah, you want them out there. You want them. Again, going back to the whole promotion thing, you want them on YouTube. You want them doing hot ones. You want them doing all of the things that they do the week before the movie comes out.
All the late night shows, like
the late night shows. Yeah. So there you go. That's the formula right there. That is the promotion formula. It is you're on every single YouTube channel that is worth mentioning. They're doing a tour of your house on whoever's YouTube that does that sort of thing. You're on
as much time as I've talked about the Crow, Skarsgård should be on here.
I mean, shit, dude. Like, I've seen smaller YouTube channels get an opportunity to interview him. Like seriously, I've seen small scale YouTube. I mean, Comic Pop got to interview some people for one of the big Marvel or DC releases.
Yeah, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you just have to reach out to someone on their IG or whatever.
I'm gonna get the CEO on this one.
Yeah, or be willing to show up to where they're gonna be. Like when they do the huge, like, all right, so everybody gets like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 seconds or whatever type of situation. You just need to be there, be official, recognized press, and you'll get your 5 to 10 minutes of shine with them, and then they'll show you at the door and bring in Entertainment Tonight or Us Weekly or whoever else behind you.
Though the disappointing thing is, I didn't realize this, but it sounds as if between the Momoa version and this version, there were some changes. Because from everything I understood, the Momoa version was like James O'Barr had given his blessing and was involved in. And the recent things I'm reading on this one is he was not involved in and was not happy about.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I didn't even know this until Matt Roybal sent me a link to an article about it. I'm like, oh shit, man, how do you fuck it up from one version to the next so quickly? I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not.
That means the next version was a user version that they sold to a major.
Well, and O'Barr's a little bit of a crankety guy, so it could be minor changes that pissed him off. So who knows? D23 was absolutely nothing happened. It felt like.
Was that this past
they had
weekend?
So much to go. There was There was one thing they talked about. The 100 movie box set.
Wakanda?
$1,500. Paul's probably buy 15 of them to sit on. What are you gonna do with the 100 movie box set of all the animation?
I mean,
Rated with CGC.
there's diehard fans of everything, man. Back when I worked at Best Buy when I was in college, man, like people bought I was just talking about this recently, the Chosen One collection, the collected edition with all the special stuff of Buffy when it came out. Like those diehard fans are going to buy it.
$200.
I mean, yeah, but think about how much it costs and how much Disney adults attend. I know a couple of Disney adults, and like they're on the other side. They're on this coast, and they fly down to Florida. Actually, no, they don't even entertain Florida. They go to Los Angeles because that's where they're from, and that is where they got engaged. Like they start having kids, they drag their asses out there. Like this ain't about the kids. This is about them living their dreams of being Disney princesses. And they will spend whatever ungodly amount of money is necessary to live out that dream.
Well, I guess people are probably buying it as a primary, but man, what's the potential investment of resale later is my unknown.
Yeah, but I think the people
keep it sealed and find out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Fuck, who knows? Dumber shits went up.
But I think the general population just isn't worried about that. I mean, we worry about that because that's what we do. We're collectors and we're flippers. But remove the flipping part of it, and collectors will spend money on things that they never have any intention of ever. Because I mean, as I continue to delve more into like playing this classic card game and running into people, talking to people and stuff like that, people spend money on things that are just like, this will be mine forever. Like it's a money pit.
What am I judging? I just spent $650 for me and the kid to go one night to Halloween Horror. Probably $700. What we can do.
So speaking of D23 from last year, the entire promo set of cards for Lorcana, right?
Mm-hmm.
A full set of PSA 10s sold at Golden this past weekend for $20,000. I mean, it's like 7 cards or something like that.
Jesus.
So I mean, some of them were approaching what 2 or 3K a piece or something like that.
I mean, yeah, those D23 giveaway comics. Still racking in damn good money for them.
Yeah, should not underestimate Disney fans.
Oh, never.
I mean, a trip to the park's $10K if you got a family of 4, man.
Yep, and we do that multiple times a year.
Damn, what do they do for a living? I need to change jobs then.
Well, none of us got to watch this, I don't think, but Monarch had a promo on Apple TV, which is the Godzilla King Kong universe. So I don't think you saw it. Did you, Yeezy?
No, I don't have Apple TV.
I saw it hit, and I just didn't get a chance to watch it today.
I got halfway through it before the show started, and it looks like Kurt and Wyatt are playing the same person, separated by time. Huh. So they're doing a flashback to the past in the 60s or 70s or something like that, to the time period post. It looks like it's post the events when Monarch truly became into its fruition. So it would be the events post Kong Skull Island.
Which one was Kurt Russell in? Was he in?
No, he hasn't been in one. So he's a new character who's a member. I guess it looks like he's a young member of Monarch who falls in love with an Asian woman while they're running around Southeast Asia, finding these monsters basically and cataloging them.
Could be an interesting show, though.
Yeah,
Apple TV has done better things than all of us thought they would do.
Yeah, no, they put out some real winners. I mean, they put out quality is what I will say is what we're getting out of Apple TV. They're not just we're just shitting out content for the sake of having stuff for you to watch. They've got some award-winning shows that have come out of that channel.
So they're taking the opposite approach than Netflix. Hey, I'm just gonna throw shit at the wall, see if it sticks.
No, they're a little closer to the old HBO, old school.
Yeah, they're going to be playing more the HBO, AMC model of where we're trying to be prestige television. We want to be talked about on the prestige podcast and be in the mentions of the best show on television you're probably not watching type lists and things like that.
Mm.
They've got Foundation. They've got some good stuff. Even that Hijacked is kind of good. I've been watching.
Foundation, Hijack, For All Mankind, Ted Lasso. I mean, they've got some real. I mean, even that show with Jason Momoa where everybody's blind called Seed, that one's still pretty solid.
They've hit way more than not. So the Shrink one is good. with Jason
Segel. Yeah, Jason Segel and
Harrison Ford. That was a
yeah,
good show. Like
Harrison
they've done
Ford.
well.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
wanted to check out Mythic Quest.
Mythic
Oh,
Quest
that one's
is
fun.
so good. Mythic Quest
Is
is
okay.
really good. Like that coupled with Ted Lasso as a back-to-back combination. It's just like
Yeah, very funny.
during
So you
COVID,
know
it
where
was
your
a great
money
show.
is going basically if you sign up for Apple TV.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to have it all year. Like it's one they don't put up enough content. Like you get it for 3 months and stop for a while and go back.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I very much so play that model of I will binge watch the show. I'll wait till the show that I care about has run its course. I will binge watch it for a week subscription, and then I'll cancel it and then come back to it again when I need it.
I
Nice.
will say Hulu just got
It-
Godfather of Harlem that was on MGM Plus.
Mhm.
It's Forrest Whitaker and Chaz Palmieri and
But they've also increased their prices too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they dropped 3 seasons of it. I'm 2 seasons in. It's great.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a show, it is 60s Harlem. The tie in Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, and just like it's a pretty good show. So worth some Hulu content. The other one is One Piece on Netflix. The live action is breaking the trend of them sucking.
I heard it's
wow.
the first time that has ever happened.
Yeah,
A live action anime that doesn't suck.
Yeah, I mean,
I have to watch it to believe it.
I'm not going to say everybody's going to love it, but I like me and my kids watched 600 episodes of it, and he enjoys it. It's got the right amount of goofy, but still keeps some of the violence and keeps some of the fun. It's a good mix, and the guy playing Luffy is the perfect amount of like dumb, but not like dumb, but you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
oblivious.
Yeah, I mean, he's your typical shonen hero of that time period. Like,
And
he's Luffy is Goku. He's Naruto. He's that fun-loving, but I'm going to be the best that there is out there. And when I've got to like dig in and be the hero of the scenario, I'm going to I'm going to do the thing. So yeah, I'm happy to hear, because I mean, watching that first trailer, I was like, man, this looks like it's going to be good. But like, I've been fooled by trailers so many times. So
they hit the right amount of special effects, but it's not like overdone, because rubbery, stretchy things do not translate well, as we've seen in Fantastic Four. The Buggy is great. It's the son from Agents of Shield.
Okay.
And he's got the right vibe. I'm only 4 episodes in because I've been watching it with the one kid, so we commit to just one at a time because we're just trying to not kill it. And,
so you're not trying to binge it all in
no,
like
it's like one of those it's a treat. But I would recommend it, and I know most of the rest of the live action anime has been garbage, so it is worth a watch if you're hesitant. Yeah. See,
did you watch Cowboy Bebop by chance?
I started it, I didn't finish it.
I did.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoyed Cowboy Bebop. I mean, but I definitely had to divorce it a little bit from the source material.
Yeah.
I agree with this, because like I watched the One Piece anime. Like I would catch some episodes and miss some, and when it's sometimes one fight takes 10 episodes.
It's
I don't
almost like
stress about
1,000 episodes, right? Or 800 something.
It's more.
and
It's one of the
more than
longest.
1,000? Yeah.
So I mean, I actually agree with the statement of like it's made me understand the pieces I missed and got a little better vibe of it. So all right, got the market report. We'll try and go fairly brisk, and then I know we've got we'll do some pickups. I actually bought something for the first time, and I don't know how long.
Nice.
So we got that going. Let's see. Why will you not work? All right. Sorry, no CEO to keep us on track here, so I got to work it on my own. This book has fallen. Thor 180 at 8.0, 350. I know it had to be 8 to 10 years ago I sold this book for 450. and I was I was making slides, and I don't make them very often. The last episode I made slides for was 250 based on the information in the saved history. So that was close to a year ago. This book was $1,000.
At the same grade?
Yes.
At this grade during COVID, this was 10x this price.
Mm-hmm. So crazy how bad they have screwed the pooch on the character, and
they
market's
built it
tough.
I mean, they built him up so much too at the same time, like where it's like, oh, you get pieces of like, hey, Warlock is coming, and then when you finally got him, it was like, oh, that's what we were waiting for this entire time.
It was like what, 4 minutes of screen time, it felt like.
Well, and also, I mean, the hardcore fans of him were very pissed off about the portrayal. Like him being like a complete idiot was not appreciated by the hardcore fans.
Like a man child, basically.
But that's what he was, sort of, like, just not portrayed the same. They turned him in from the 70s to the 2020s man child. So the average, 20-year-old in general. So we were talking a couple weeks ago about Malibu Sun, and some of the we saw the Evil Ernie issue, and we talked about the Spawn issue. Like, why are some of these other properties not selling high? Well, $300 for a Wildcats previews better than I expected. So I guess some of these other ones, if you can find them, are probably worth picking up. I know.
I know where to get a raw one.
I've got a
988 condition.
I mean, I picked the only one I think I've picked up randomly for myself was I have the Ultraverse one, just because I have a sick obsession with the Ultraverse. But those people don't spend money, so they're used to buying 10 for $1. It's the only thing worse than what was it? The Warriors of Plasm. That might be the only universe that does worse. Warriors of Plasm. Yes, that one. This was a church mile high pedigree copy of WoW comics. It's a nice book, a 9.0 of a WoW, which is rare air. I've had a mile high pedigree book, but not this one. I've had a WoW pedigree book, not this one. If I were buying heavily, this might have been an interesting buy, because it's not my favorite cover, but it's in the top 10 for Mary Marvel covers in my eye. She's kind of sitting on a tuffet in my head. So I like this book. Tales of Suspense 1.0. Complete cover, good shape for a 1.0, but this seems to be kind of, if you want a complete book, 3,500 is going to be the buy-in now.
Isn't 1.0 still like, can it still be like incomplete or something like that? Or like part of a page is missing? And
I think yes, because I've had things that were missing part of a cover that were 1.8s.
It can be. I think a 1.0 has to be virtually complete. No missing full pages. Let's go with. It can have a substantial amount of a page missing or a cover missing.
Or detached cover or something like that.
Yeah, well, detached cover, you can get into the 3s, man.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe higher. But like I said, it is technically going to be a complete book, barring, like we've all seen 1.0s with a half cover missing.
Yeah. Well, and then they also take out
pages.
Yeah, they also like take out what's the incomplete part now. You would have to look it up.
Like you can have a 0.5. I think you can have a 0.5 complete versus a 0.5 incomplete too. So, a nice Frazetta sci-fi cover. 6.5 is a nice grade for any of his work. By far not his greatest cover. Way too much of the image is the title of the book, but still, you got to give respect to the master. Decent price on that, honestly. That's in the Frazetta sci-fi ones. This is, just barely cracking the top 10. So, this book amused me because I know Baltimore was this weekend, and this is kind of how I imagine most of us waking up in Baltimore. between needing the gun and looking like we got beat in the walk home. Based on my last trip there, I don't think it's any better this year. So any of you guys that were there, I hope you stayed safe. And Leg, I'm sorry you're not here today, but I hope somebody had some trash can beers for you.
Oh man, that was fun.
Leg says he's sick, which is surprising to me. He's rarely sick because he keeps his body filled with
boost to keep it cleanse body
boost
cleanse or whatever.
Boost to fight the antibiotic to fight it.
Yeah.
181.90, 8K feels like a strong price.
Yeah, it's pretty solid
for versus everything else. Didn't you say you sold a giant size today, right?
X-Men 1.
Oh, it was X-Men. Sorry, yeah, you're right. X-Men 1. So you got, was it a 3.5?
Sold a 6.0.
6.0.
But I also sold a 7.5 of Hulk 181 like a day or two ago.
And what'd you get for that?
5 G's. So.
All right. So I mean, this book is probably doing okay with some of the Deadpool heat still, especially with the orange or the yellow costume. I mean, because it was diving for a while. It wasn't in free fall like some of the rest of it, but it was not as strong as it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, so I had a 9.0 that I sent off to Golden that I think sold for like right around 9 or so.
Okay.
But that was like early this year, like very beginning of this year. So.
Okay. All right. I mean, compared to some of the other stuff dropping, it's holding pretty solid.
Okay, yeah. I found the greater nets for that Tales of Suspense 39.
Okay.
Tape on cover and interior cover. Multiple pieces out whole book. Staple detached bottom of cover. Staple detached top of front cover. And then tape cover, tape interior cover.
Yeah.
It's more tape than comic at this point.
You know what? If the tape's on the inside, I care less. If you don't get that discoloration.
Yeah, sure.
This was from Rick, who I would love to join us sometime when his child goes to sleep. This is a very tough one to do much with. The pictures are terrible. It's in a bag. It's listed as fine plus, but it's got a spine split of some mention. But it is one of the top kind of pre-code books. I think it probably could have got a higher price if they had done a little better job with the marketing on it.
Oh, no, absolutely.
This is going to go as the dumbass photo of the week for me. I'm sure there's worse ones, but this was for Nico.
Wow.
This was the main photo. Ultimate Fallout 4 back cover. The front cover's on photo 2. This is New Dimension Comics, who kind of live out in that Pittsburgh, Ohio, Pennsylvania area. So I just thought Nico would enjoy this one.
Aren't they one of those bigger shops too?
Oh, they're huge.
They have a chain. So whoever's taking pictures, maybe they need to reassess
or pay them more money.
Yeah, I mean they've got a smattering of locations, and I think they're involved with Steel City Con and the Pittsburgh Comic Con and all that stuff. So yeah, sorry guys, I don't mean to call you out, but that was not a great move.
I mean, whoever they've got like cranking out photos. I mean,
it can happen.
Having seen some of these like bigger places, like the warehouse in there, where there's just somebody just like blasting out, having to get as many of these listings out as they possibly can. Yeah, somebody just wasn't paying attention. So.
It happens to all of us. We've all mislisted something, had a typo, and why am I getting no views? But you just don't. I don't always see it for a big store.
Yeah, true.
But was that a decent price still for a UF4?
Okay, it's not. I mean, Ultimate Fallout 4 is not going to slip by.
Yeah,
the front cover's on it. It's in the back. It's just the second picture.
I mean,
it probably got more bidders because everybody thought that people are going to miss it.
Yeah, and then plus everyone wants to see the back of it anyways because if it's still in the poly bag, right?
Well, this one looks like it's out, but
No, it's still poly bag.
Is it?
Yep, because you can see the poly bag line straight up to the center of the book.
Okay. All right.
And it says poly bagged in the title.
It does. It does. I missed it. But like I said, it probably, honestly, when you do some of these weird things, sometimes you get more people because they're all like, oh, everybody missed this one. This is mine.
I mean,
Well,
I got a question
and
of
then-
why would you keep this book in a polybag still at this point? Like, this isn't one of those scenarios where it's like, oh man, like if it's a black polybag or a white polybag, it could be like the special book. It's like, no, the book is the book. Why the fuck would you still have it in a polybag?
Maybe they looked at it and didn't feel like they should take it out. Like, maybe it's not as good as if, you know, if it's polybagged, it's polybagged, but if you take it out, you can see more damage.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like
possibly.
if it's a high grade candidate, you're probably taking it out. If it's a mid grade, you might just leave it in there for the unknowing.
Yeah.
First, Martian Manhunter. This one amused me, but just because it had John written across the cover there. Like, I don't know why they wrote John twice, and just because he's John Jones, it really amused me for some reason. I don't know. You know, you look at enough pictures, things catch your eye.
John John's copy of it.
Yes, John John's copy of John Jones. This was the book that we spent a few minutes talking about before the start. Svengali meets the DC comic. New York Comic Con. Thank you for Yeezy for doing some research on this one, because it only caught my eye because of a 6.5 selling for $235. It's from 2019. You know, one of the con exclusives. What'd you say? 40 in the census?
Yep. So there's a total of 40 in the census, 38 blue labels, 2 green labels.
So I'm going to assume the green labels were probably signed by Svengali.
Yeah, and
And
Chris
not
did some
witnessed.
research before the show as well, saying that
He was at
Svengali-
he was at NYCC of 2019. So yeah, people managed to walk up on him and get probably some six.
Yeah, and a couple 9.8 sold for $1,000, right? Near $1,000.
198 sold for $1,000 in May, and then there was 4 sales in 2021.
So I always get confused when such a low grade book sells so high, but we have that horror crossover here with Svengali. For those of you who don't know, he was, you know, one of those TV kind of hosts that did the, you know, intro to horror movies on your weekend cable channel or network channel. Been around a long time. So kind of like your Elvira type idea of just one of those iconic characters, and potentially they're getting it for that versus just, you know, being us comic nerds that need everything to be perfect.
Well, here's the crazy part. I'm looking at GPA a little bit closer. The high for 2021 for this book in a 9.8 was 325.
Huh.
And then this is the absolute lowest graded copy on the census.
I know, but like us comic people weren't looking for it. I think this is a book that has just kind of went the other way. Like, would any of us, if you saw this in a bin, would any of us grab it?
No.
Wouldn't even know what I was looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so I think it is one that just plays so hard to a different audience than us that maybe the grade does not matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few others listed on eBay right now too that are live. Like, you could buy a raw copy for like $300 if you really wanted this book. So I mean, I'm assuming that they put like a minimal amount, since there's like 11 bids on it. It could just be an old-fashioned bidding war too, that like, hey, this is the cheapest copy if I'm ever gonna get this book.
What are the other ones listed at?
Like raws are like 300. There's like a 9.8 for 1,000, and then everything in between, kind of.
Maybe
Also, I mean, I kind of know probably what maybe the notes are on this. Maybe because with a book like that being so low, you either run into one or two scenarios. Somebody straight up got it and turned around and handed it to CGC, and there was like fingerprints and all of the shit on it, and the stuff that potentially just could have been cleaned off, and they just didn't know what they were doing. Or somebody just straight wasn't thinking about it. Like, I watched people, and it broke my heart to watch it happen. I watched somebody's kid like straight up like fold in half one of those Transformers, the black and white.
The black and
Transformers.
whites.
Oh Jesus!
Ash cans.
Yeah, like I sat there and turned around and like was talking to somebody and watched as the kid was like folding in half, and
Put it in
like
his back pocket.
the parents not even understanding, being like, oh, like, you know, I was like, yeah, somebody, you reasonably can probably get $100 for that book. And this is like before we left and got back and people were spending $300 on them. I was like, you probably get $100 for each copy of those. And they're like, oh, really? And I'm sitting there looking at them and they're already all like beat up and stuff because people are just kind of like sitting them with their halfway in their hand, like not really, like I got it and immediately bagged and boarded. They're normies. They're just like, oh, this is just a handout from San Diego. like, it didn't even resonate to them that this was something special. They're like, oh yeah, our so and so got us tickets to come, and I'm like, yeah, you're in a panel with the creator of The Walking Dead and Skybound, and you know, it just And I was just watching him beat up on his comics, so I'm like, yeah, this is absolutely could be that scenario also. If somebody just beat the shit out of it.
I did a quick look. There was a lot of spine creases on this guy.
Oh yeah, so yeah, it's probably a true 6'5".
Well, yeah, and then we're under the assumption that this was probably given at a panel of some sort, especially with such a low census count.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I remember Baltimore, the first one we went to, and they had a bunch of the foil covers, and the lady just had bare hand, just bare clawing it, and they were all getting creases on that foil cover that were never going to come out.
Yeah,
there was the new 52 ones I remember, but man, that was just like she's
The
just
cringe.
bare clawing it, and it's never coming out.
I mean, like I wasn't around
And then she stacked them.
I wasn't around for the diamond, like those diamond panels. But like I've heard stories, man, of people like stepping on the comics, like you know those RP diamond giveaway luncheon events. Because keep in mind, like most of those diamond events were either a breakfast or a lunch, so people are eating, and they're just like. You know, and it's at a time when comics are kind of finding their way again, like case in point with Saga, but still, like a lot of those people who were in there were just like, oh, whatever, and left the comics, the comics, stepped on them, didn't even think about it.
Well, like grading was a thing, but like not most of those people in there were dealers, like shops.
True.
And at that time, far from all the shops were grading. That was more when the public was grading and the shops were not. So it was just a different time.
Like, yeah, because I mean, with the Saga RP, that would have been what, 2013, 2014?
Yeah. And that's about the time I got back in.
Same.
So maybe I was right before that, but still, it was a different time. You didn't go see slabs at every store. And now you almost can't go to a store and not see a slab.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I mean,
my store is stuck in the past because they barely have slabs ever.
There's a few, but man, like 10 years ago, nobody had slabs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've got some stuff, some pickups to show that, like, yeah, from shops who just don't believe in grading comics. So
there's still some, but it's not like it was.
I'm fine with that too because I'll buy up their books and grade them.
Yep, same.
Yeah. Another one of the classic covers, Lawbreaker Suspense Stories, number 11, the hobo with the beating heart. Back cover missing, cheap buy-in. But if you're a pre-code horror collector, you kind of don't care as much. You know, I mean, you want a nice book, but if you can get the cover, you're going to take it. So I think that was a great price for somebody that's going to just put it in a bag and be happy with it and display it somehow.
Yeah. Probably
not in a slab.
Yeah.
This book's kind of been not talked about as much since Edge of Spider-Verse Into the Spider-Verse happened. But still one of the top covers for this character. I don't know. I don't know if there's a better one.
It's the cover for him.
Yeah, and we always talk about solid SIG placement by Jones on that one, just kind of on the hand.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Could have been a little smaller, but I don't hold him accountable for that. You know, we all got a SIG that's the size, but well placed, right on the angle. I think that's a nice buy. I'd be very happy with that one.
I'm surprised they didn't write 1 in 25 or something like that. Isn't this a 1 in 25 variant?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they probably ran out of room.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So you could have probably not. You could have got rid of the J.G. Jones variant and put signed J.G. Jones.
Yeah.
Well, they did.
Wait, it says
They did.
slot. Where's
They
slot?
did slime. Oh, right behind JG in silver. I just saw that.
I didn't even see the second one.
Oh, so that's really good signature placement. If you don't even notice the signatures.
Truthfully, the two of them, that's not that I want slot signature, but somebody might.
No.
And then
so the one we're like clamoring over is slot signature. So the black one's slot signature. The silver one you can't see is JG Jones.
Oh, shit. Well, then I respect JG more. One more book. Truly, this one was just cool to me. I love me some Space Ghost. I've never seen this one. I didn't know it existed, but it's
a newsstand.
Yeah, it's the coast to coast fucking one. I kind of want one now. I really do. $400. I've bought a lot of dumber things for $400. I kind of wish I would have known it was there.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network 4. Add it to your list of, oh shit, who do I need in this books?
I mean, this cartoon comic tie-ins, man, like I got some pickups around that sort of thing. And it's a purely nostalgia play. It is purely,
Well, some of those things you just buy for you too. We all have those books. I've got books that I flip most things I have, but there's still a few that like I pay for and just nobody's going to pay as much as I paid for it.
And this is never leaving the collection type of situation.
Like everything's for sale, but the odds that somebody's going to give me the money I want for it just is low. So it's likely not for sale.
No.
All right, Chris, we're going to let you show what you got this week.
Sure. All right. So I want to give a big shout out to my partner, Sarah, who flew out to Portland for a wedding that I did not attend, but still ran around to my favorite comic book shops in the area. Shout out to...
That's awesome.
Yeah, like straight up FaceTime me, held it up to the case, like held it up to the wall, and I was like, "Yo, pull those down." And
she shopped for you.
She shopped for me, and then turned me to the owner of the shop, and was like, "Hey, you remember this guy, don't you?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, Chris, how's it going?" I was like, "Yeah, what can you do in these books?" I'm negotiating through FaceTime.
You've got a keeper there. She's a keeper.
She's like, "Hey, you got to hurry up. I'm down to 4% of my phone." And then the shop owner was just like, "Hey, you can plug in your phone and we can finish this conversation."
That's fantastic.
But so yeah, shout out to Excalibur. Shout out to the folks over at Costume Monkey in Portland. Like they're just great people and took care of me for the 2 years I was there. So definitely had to support and patronize them while I was in town. So I mean, for the price, it was asking $15. Again, got it for less than that, but non-newsstand, but still a relatively clean copy. Again, the Action 1 homage in a newsstand. Asking price was $10. Again, very clean copy. So I'll hold on to some of these for future McFarlane signatures. Can't leave the silver edition when you find it. Again, asking price was $10. Definitely negotiate that down. Those blind box,
Oh yeah.
At some point, something's going to happen with God Country. So, I mean, I'm not going to leave it for $10. So,
no, that's a really good deal because I think that's the rarest one, isn't it?
I believe so.
Or is there?
One of those were hard to find.
Or is there a version of that? I can't remember.
I don't remember either because I have the blue color version of it. So.
I have the colored one as well, but I'm pretty sure the black and white is rarer than the color. If I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. I have to do some digging. Again, the nostalgia plays. We got first appearance of Bartman, first appearance of The Simpsons in comics. So again,
is that the poster?
I believe so. I have to open them up, but I think they've got the posters inside. Oh shit, newsstand.
I
asked her and I was like, "Yo, is that a newsstand?" And she was like, "No, I don't think so." She's like, "That means a barcode, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "No." And then I go flipping through. I'm like, "Oh shit, it's a newsstand. Awesome."
Man, you've got your partner trained better than I ever have.
Yeah, she's a great one. Like, I mean, she's actually gotten to the point where she can halfway do some great comics. I was just like, "Well, how does spines look?" She was like, "Oh, I'm not seeing a bunch of ticks, but there was like one or two on this book." I was like, "For the price, just bring them," because she found
at one point, my 8-year-old was like, "I want to learn to grade," and I taught him, and he was pretty good.
Yeah,
nice.
So 3 newsstand Darkhawks. They were asking 15 for them, so I was like, at that price point, I'll take them. We'll
That's a
negotiate down
book
to
that
there.
always hits a wave.
Yep.
First printing of Something's Killing the Children. So,
Ooh.
What did you get that for?
So asking on it was $325. I think I was able to get 20% off of this stack of comics. This is from a different shop. So
I'm surprised that one's still selling that price for so little like talk about it, you know?
Yeah, I just saw a 9.8 sell in the group for like $550.
yeah. So I mean,
it went really fast though. So,
What's interesting though is I didn't pull it, but Saga is selling 9.8 for $350.
Yes, it is down too.
Well, it's interesting to me that this book not graded with. I mean, not that it's a bad book, but like just no reason for the hype at this point.
Well, so here I've actually just peeled off there are 3 price changes on this bad boy. Part of me wants to kind of see where it started at and where we ended up at.
Go up or down.
Let's see if we can separate. It definitely went down. Like there was a point when like I remember Mel put us onto these books, and
unless it got moved up before somebody bought it.
Come on, separate properly. I know the fans really care about this. Okay, so it definitely went up. So on 7/23, so no, it went down. It was $350. So it went from $350. I think it went to $325, and then it stayed at $325.
Right.
So yeah, it's got repriced a couple times. So we have a newsstand Secret Wars 8. Asking price on it was $155. Again, I think we got 20% off the whole entire set. A little First Rocket Raccoon action, because why not? I mean, at this point, I just don't need keys anymore. If it makes sense, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night 1. So
first Dracula, right?
I think so. Actually, no, I think Tomb of Dracula #1 was his.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah. We got a little Silver Surfer Mephisto action because why not at this point? I mean, it's a rough looking copy, but whatever.
He's appearing. I don't know what you're talking about. He's going to appear.
Somebody will appreciate having it. I grab these whenever I see them just because they are hard and high grade with all that water wall black. And it's one of the easier first printings to identify because the smart thing that Dark Horse did on these books is every single later printing is a different page from the comic. So second printing has a different cover to it. Third printing has a different cover to it, and they just keep changing. So it makes it super easy to identify them when you see them out in the wild. And last but not least, this is like the 3rd or 4th copy of this book I've come across. But you know what? I'll keep snatching it. Now that One Piece is giving me hope that we can have a live action portrayal of a comic or of a anime and manga that is well received, I'm going to keep grabbing these and hoping one day that we get. Who was it who wanted to do it? It was
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, it was Taika who wanted to direct.
Oh, so. Yeah. Who was the producer? It was can't remember.
But that's it for me. So yeah, not a bad stack. But yeah, shout out to my lovely girlfriend Sarah who made this happen for me because I was not there to do it myself.
Nice.
All right. Easy.
So this is really her. Yeah, I do have a few things. So that was really her pickup show.
Yeah, for the most part.
So one thing I want to go over is I found out in DeCall's art book he featured my original art piece commission I bought from him. So
nice.
Sweet.
So it's in his new art book. So if you bought that, you know who owns the Polaris piece now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. I won a Raz that Sean hosted, and he threw in a couple extra things. So this horror comics, America and Dolphin cover. I forget what it's limited to, but I know it's pretty low. But this was the second prize. Was the High Republic #1. This is the German Del Auto cover.
Oh.
And then this was also part of it too. The Darth Vader #1 second print. So I bought a few other raw books. So let me grab these real quick so they don't fall over. I bought this Bill S. Moon Knight City of the Dead #2. This is the 1 in 25 variant. Okay. Love this cover. I bought a few of the Dr. Aphra Star Wars ones covers. Like even though the eyes look kind of goofy, but I can't pass up a Star Wars one homage. I bought 5 of the Adam Hughes Norts Illustrated swimsuit issue. So I did find out the centerfolds are different on these. So out of these 5, I had 3 different ones. And then for the big one, I bought the Ji-Hun Lee 1 in 100. This is Spider-Gwen annual number 1. So
it's an interesting one.
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting that it was a 1 in 100 on a what was it? On the annual. So
it's not like holy shit that's cool, but it's kind of like you look at it a little longer, it's cool.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I mean,
it's not like the one behind you.
Yeah. So I mean, and then that's just a poster. So but I have the real book.
It makes me think of like the Hughes is it Gwen Stacy one?
Yeah, the one in that 1 in 100?
Where she's sitting on a bench.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, okay. It needs to settle a minute.
Exactly. Yeah. Where that one it ended up being someone's commission or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I have. I think I have like random cards, but I'm sure your audience doesn't care about
that. they're picky.
Yeah.
That's all right. You're worried about cards. I'm gonna throw out fucking Mexican original art. So.
Oh, nice.
So I was Googling this just to refresh my memory, and so couple things. I'll show the art, but topic is interesting timing. So this is the original art to a Mexican historical comic. I was kind of they do it all on kind of board. I don't even know what it is, but kind of art board, so it's beat up. And I was just intrigued by the heads on the pole. It was like $100. There was another one I missed that was a religious comic, and I was like, whatever. So I got it and started researching what it was. It's the historical cover to the assassination attempt in Morocco. So, keep in mind of the people in Morocco who are dealing with an earthquake. But as I'm looking at it today, the event happened September 11th, 1953, when they tried to assassinate the Sultan of Morocco. So it is does that make that the 70th anniversary? So it's kind of a weird coincidence, weird piece, but like it's got soldiers storming on this side, it's got heads on poles. Just the whole thing just struck me as so wild I couldn't pass it up for $100. So
wild. Just the history. Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought it was really interesting as I'm Googling of the date of this whole thing happened to be September 11th. So wild coincidences here. Throwing a couple of comments up. Anybody got anything? What are you doing this week, Easy? You showing up on any shows?
I will be on Beyond Wednesdays on Wednesday. Thursday, we have Long Story Short. So Carter usually joins in with us over there.
With Mr. Carter working Mondays.
Yeah. And then is he doing another show this week? Because I told him I'd eventually be on his like Tuesday or Wednesday show. I think
it depends. I don't know if Dino's back or not.
Okay.
I know Dino's somewhere tonight, and I don't know if they're going to make it back or not.
Gotcha.
So I didn't get a good answer from him.
Oh yeah, that Virgin, it's a 1 in 100. So if your shop didn't order 100 copies, which I really doubt a lot of shops order 100 copies of a Gwen annual book.
No.
That's much.
Yeah, I was like, kind of like, I'm just gonna buy the Virgin online somewhere, and then I think I pre-ordered another copy from Ji-Hun Lee that's doing the whole CGC 98 signature series treatment.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I'm pretty sure there's a comic shop talk coming out this week. It sounds like maybe Carter will be on tomorrow. We'll have to see. I believe the CEO will be back next week, so we should have a fuller crew. Hopefully Sean is healthy. And, check us out. Let us know if anything of interest hits, and we will see you all.
Well, here, let me do
Oh.
one element of self promotion. So,
Go ahead.
I have just been, because I have so many books that came back from San Diego. I've just been running 99-cent auctions like a madman. So if you hop on my eBay store, you can, it's tagged somewhere. Colbert's Comics, like everything from ASM 301 9.6 to some of these, like stuff like this. Like anything that like I got back, there are almost everything's in 9.8 that came back from San Diego. So we have like the Del Otto sketch variant of that guy, the pen and ink, Somebody's Killing the Children, Somebody's Killing the Children 31 foil from San Diego. I mean, just random stuff that I've shipped out that came back around the same time. If you want one of those, one day only Invincibles, I've got a couple of those. So yeah, check the store. I appreciate all the support. People have definitely been repeat buyers who are watching the show, so I appreciate it. And yeah, that's just want to do a little bit of shameless self promotion there.
No, absolutely, go for it, my friend.
Oh,
all right.
Hey, I forgot I'll be on the Hot 10 on the House of Stein this Friday.
This is the House of Stein channel.
Yep.
All right. Give Stein my regards.
All right, will do.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.